I get tickled every time I see our little intro. And this is our 188th episode, and I never get tired of seeing that thing. Maybe our viewers are sick of it, but it looks just as fresh and fun as when we did it 5 years ago.
Do you know that they were doing work on the Lincoln's statue? The standing Lincoln or the Lincoln's, whatever it is.
Where we did our photos?
Where we did our photos. It's closed off. They're doing a whole bunch of work on the statue.
Wow. So people in the know would know that wasn't done this year.
It was done as soon as it was done in June 2020, right after we got out of lockdown.
Wow. Yeah. So we're coming up June 2020. So we're coming up on 6 years.
Oh my God.
We haven't aged a day.
Not a day.
Oh my gosh. The older I get, the faster time goes. Oh my heavens. Everybody, welcome to Monday Morning Coffee with Kyle and Ann. We talk real estate in downtown Chicago. We sell real estate with Baird & Warner. And we love to talk about what's really going on, not just what the headlines are or what pundits say, but really the truth, right?
Yep.
Today, we're going to talk about the real estate statistics. We didn't see last week, so we're going to talk about the numbers through April. Then we're going to talk about what's on our minds. And then we're going to talk about the West Loop. I had a request from somebody on YouTube in the comments that said, talk to us about what's going on in West Loop. So we're bringing that on.
Excellent. Excellent. Every time I'm in the West Loop, I'm like, this is great. And then I think, oh my God, I got to go to the West Loop. It's so hard to get there right now with all those bridges being out.
Yeah. When you come from the north and you have to go, you would typically cross the Chicago Bridge. You're in trouble.
Or even going west on North Avenue or Division. It's a nightmare right now. But anyway, yeah.
That's all right. We don't want to disparage the West Loop.
No, we don't want to
get there. It's lovely.
We don't want to disparage the bridges. We like the West Loop. We just
can't. Yeah, exactly. All right. We're going to get rid of our names and our coffee cup.
I love that coffee.
So that we can see everything that's going on. This is a logo and page that's getting old. We'll have to refresh that. But in any event, we're going to talk about what's going on in the marketplace. First with houses. All right. In the month of April, I have to get my head straight. In the month of April, 86 single-family homes closed in the Lakefront communities. You can see in the chart, it's up from the month before, as it should be, because of the rise and fall of seasonality, but it's down 6% from the previous year.
Oh.
Same thing with single-family homes. 95 under contract, but that's down 19% from the previous year. And here comes the one we all hate to see, folks. 115 homes on the market is down 41% from the year before. It just gets uglier and uglier. That's a 1.5 month supply of homes on the market. It's going up. Okay. No, it's going up. But all right. And it's 5.8 showings per listing. And if you look at that, it's a little down from the month before, but up 21%. So everybody's out looking for property.
Desperate.
Okay. Median sales price is now 1.552. And keep in mind, this is not Lincoln Park, folks. This is the whole Lakefront community, that map I showed you, the median sales price.
Yep.
All right. But this, I think, is the chart that is so interesting but sad. 238 homes have closed in the 4 months since the beginning of the year. That's down 18%, 18.5% from the year before. So it's just inventory.
Yeah. Is the volume sort of parity, or the dollar amounts?
Yeah, I didn't even look at that. You're right, though. The dollar amount would be closer, but that's why I wanted to show units and not dollars, because with prices increasing, it wouldn't be down by 18%. It's probably down by, I don't know, 5 or so, but It's the unit.
right now, the Midwest and Chicago in particular are really attracting people to come live here. And either we have to build or we have to encourage people to start moving because it is becoming unaffordable, which will kill Chicago. I mean, Chicago has a lot of things that draw people here that make it very attractive, but one of the things has been its affordability. And as these prices are rising, we're getting less and less of a standout reputation for affordability.
Right. Well, and then again, the entry level market for first time buyers, in my mind, I keep thinking affordability.
I'm
I have
going,
several first time buyers I'm working with right now, and my heart breaks for them. It's such a struggle to find something that, they like, that they can afford to get into. So,
so I'm going today with some first time buyers um, in neighborhoods that are not the fancy neighborhoods. And uh, the things in their price range are such garbage right now. I mean, it's shocking that this would be, even a year ago, they would have had much more space, much better condition in their price range than they do currently. And it's just,
it's too bad you and I don't have a crystal ball. I mean, we were telling people a year ago, now's a good time to buy, even though the rates are up and you're thinking it's not, do it. And sure enough, that's the case. But, hey, if we had a crystal ball.
Yeah. Anyway.
I don't want to even finish that sentence.
I don't
All right, let's go to attached, which is condos, co-ops, townhomes. 1,034 closed in April. That was down 5% from the month before. 1,067 went under contract, which was just about flat from the year before. Look at that, 1,397 attached for sale. Okay, if you were when we were doing this show in 2021, look up there at the far left of the chart.
Oh my
And we
God.
were going, we have inventory. Nobody wants to live in a condo. And remember, we were saying you could leave a condo for 500,000 and go to a single family home in like Avondale for 500,000. And that's what they were doing. Or even a neighborhood for 800,000 because you had less assessments, right? That was the play in 2020, 2021.
Well, everyone was going also, yeah, they were leaving for suburb. A lot of people were going to suburbs, to other neighborhood. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. And now today there's no inventory and but people are buying. I mean, okay, so there's only a 1.7 month supply, which means people are buying and every property is getting as many showings as a single family home. So people want to be in condos today.
So what's really interesting about this one, and even the other ones, even the detached, showings per listing 5.5. What that's not capturing is all of these open houses where they aren't doing any showings.
Oh, brilliant comment, Kyle. That's, yeah.
50 people come in and they go under contract without actually having a single showing.
Boy, that is so true. I have clients that were in a townhome in Embassy this weekend. I keep wanting to say Embassy Suites, but you know where I mean. It's the Dan McLean townhome project in Lincoln Park.
Yeah.
He had 3 open houses, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, mobbed. And offers are due at 12 noon today. So yes, that's exactly right. I bet they had 80 groups through there. And you're right, not one was a showing.
Nope. So imagine this number being a lot higher if you were able to factor in the open houses.
Yeah.
And for the people who are not doing open, I understand when you can't for condos, because there are some condo associations that do not allow open houses. But in this market, you should talk to your association about seeing if there's a way to do an open house, because it really helps sell fast.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah. Years ago, we would say, oh, open houses are just for the agents to try to troll for buyers. That's not the case now. People are out learning, watching, seeing things without their agents. And it's good for sellers too, because you're out for 2 hours and then you're done for the day.
Yes.
So
But when you have before, in slower times, I would do open houses and I could do the open house, maybe with one other person. But now, because there are 20 people in the home, you really need agents to watch what's going on every floor or in sort of every room, because there will be people. You really have to manage how many people are going through the home at any time, because there could be theft. Anyway,
good point.
To be handled by the agents.
Median sales price for attached has gone up to $475. And we're down in number for this as well.
Go back. I mean, and that's even 2021. When we started, it was so much lower.
Okay. So again, we're laughing about the fact that we've been doing this for 6 years. It was 400,000 for months and months and months. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. And then it just, boop.
Yeah. And this is including neighborhoods that used to never sell for anything. I mean, it's incredible.
Right.
Uptown,
right. This includes
Edgewater,
where you have those Sheridan Road apartments that, 150,000. Yeah.
And Uptown used to be almost unsellable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Put my tea down, change my slide. Okay, here we go. So 2939 have sold year to date, down 7.5% from 2025 through April, and 6.3% on Freddie Mac. It's been pretty stable there. I think, here's the thing. It's stable. We expect it to stay. There's no uncertainty. And that's, I think, too, why people are in the market, because it's not volatile, right?
Yeah.
Okay, here, Chicago rents. Again, when we first started looking at rents, we were like 19th in the country. We were very affordable. Now, one bedrooms were we're number 10 now instead of number 19 in cost for a one bedroom. We're actually one of the risers, one of the 5 top metro areas that's increased in price.
And that's because it's so hard to buy. People are being forced back into renting, and that's driving up the rental price. And the things that people are building right now are rental buildings.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And as we talked about before, 2 weeks ago, when we were talking about the condos, they're not doing new construction one bedrooms.
Yeah.
So there's no increase in inventory for the new market. All right. So that's that. Wait, I have to go back I've gotten good at this, folks, where I add the slides. But if I previewed them before we go on the air, we're at the back, and then it's like a strobe light getting you back to the first one.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but I figured out.
On our mind.
So there we are on page 1.
Here we are. So I've done it, instead of shrinking it to fit the 4x3, I've kept it the original. So you get to see the whole room from Beautiful AI.
Nice.
So we're going to cover 3 topics today. Are the rules loosening on buyer-broker agreements? Secondly, the Department of Housing and Urban Development says agents should be free to talk about schools and crime with clients, which Ann and I have long said, and which Nara said we cannot do, and which say we could not do. And New York City is about to start taxing expensive second homes. And the question is, will Chicago follow suit? So let's get involved.
You've got some good topics here.
Yeah. So the rules on buyer-broker agreements, just to go backwards, the National Association of Realtors entered into a settlement, and you and I, we've talked about this with you viewers, really starting in 2024, that this lawsuit where seller sued the National Association of Realtors and others and brokerages, saying that they shouldn't have to pay or offer compensation to buyers brokers, that the buyers should pay buyers brokers, not the sellers. That shouldn't be part of the culture. And so they won a lawsuit, and then there was a big settlement. So now, as Ann and I have told you over and over again, the listing agreement only includes the compensation that the seller is going to pay their listing agent. And the buyers have to enter into agreements with their own agents to represent them in the transaction. And the idea was that buyers would then pay their own agents. As you and I and all of the agents in Chicagoland know, and which has worked its way into almost every offer made by a buyer to a seller, is that the seller will pay the buyer's broker as out of the proceeds of the settlement. So it's gone back to olden days in practice, but there are different rules in the in play that buyers have to enter into agreements with their own agents. So that's been a national rule. Illinois has passed it as a law, and now Mississippi and Alabama no longer require buyer-broker agreements before scheduling a tour. In Illinois, you have to do it before scheduling a tour, before you can even look at properties.
Interjection here too. I was at the mastermind last week, and I was talking with my good friend and real estate coach, Erica Staggs in Colorado. And she was telling me that they don't, if they're just opening a door, they don't have to have one either.
Right. But it's interesting, opening a door.
I know, but we can't even open a door.
Yeah, we can't even schedule it. And these states, a lot of states allow you to open a door. And for people who say, what do you mean open a door? There are a lot of markets where the property is under sentry lock or under lockbox, where the buyer's agent is the only agent who is actually at the showing and opens the door and does the showing themselves. There's a key that is available to the buyer's agent, and they open the door and they do the showing. They talk about it, they walk through, they assess the price when you're representing a client. But now it's like open the door, stand outside, and let the people go through, which is great. Anyway, so Wyoming, West Virginia, and Oklahoma are looking to do the same thing as Mississippi and Alabama. Now, so that's interesting and not as big a change as the headlines make it sound, because you have to sign a broker agreement to submit an offer. So it's not getting rid of the agreement, but a broker can't submit an offer to a seller on behalf of a buyer without there being an agreement in place. So it's just the timing of when it is. Right. And that's really to allow buyers to find their own properties without an agent, or to hire multiple agents, or to work with multiple agents, and then hire one when they've decided which property they want to make an offer on, which is interesting. In the Wyoming bill, realtors will only owe buyers who do not sign an agreement fair dealing, to deal honestly with them, disclosure of material facts, and accounting for money or property in case they hold money as escrow. Only with an agreement does the realtor become an agent, a fiduciary for the buyer. So you can talk about the buyers. There's no confidentiality if you haven't signed an agreement in Wyoming, in the Wyoming bill. You can represent multiple people. You can represent multiple buyers for a property, as long as there's no duty to act completely on the behalf of your buyer without one of these agreements, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
Texas and Oregon are going the opposite direction, requiring agreements. And there's no word on how Illinois will react. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think we're going to do? You
I
think
don't think we're going to change. I think things will stay status quo.
Illinois is slow to react to things, and we're very protective of our um, people and our businesses. So it'll be interesting to see.
Hmm.
Oh. HUD, Housing and Urban Development, says the agent should be able to should be free to talk about schools and crime with clients. So what have you done? So it says here that it may discuss neighborhood crime rates and school quality with clients as long as there is no intent to discriminate on race.
You know, I find this very interesting because I get very verklempt when clients ask me, and I just say I'm not allowed to talk about it because of fair housing. And then I direct them to, the crime map in Chicago, or a lot of them will quote great schools, but I'm not a fan of great schools as the source of knowing which schools are best, you know. Um, here's the thing. The rule was great for fair housing. I totally get it. And I am so it is like a pillar of mine, fair housing,
Agreed.
right? But on the other hand, these people need help and they need to understand. And so we're caught. The trouble is, how do you legislate somebody doing the right thing?
Yeah.
And I think NAR's heart was in the right place. So I'm ambivalent. I don't know what to say on this.
I agree. And the courts, just so our viewers understand, the courts enforce the Fair Housing Act to say that behavior that has a disparate impact on housing discrimination violates fair housing. So it's not just, I didn't intend to discriminate when I warned all of my people against a certain neighborhood, all of my clients against a certain neighborhood. I didn't intend to discriminate, but the end up is it does impact, have a disparate impact on that neighborhood or for those clients. But HUD is not enforcing the disparate impact cases. They're not going to take them up on behalf, because HUD, the Department of Justice, on behalf of HUD, enforces fair housing laws. But they're not going to take these cases unless there is a direct intent to discriminate. And it's really hard to find direct evidence of an intent to discriminate. So
I know, but it could be out there. I mean, this is really an interesting thing. By the way,
but I also agree with you. I want to come back to one thing. I do agree with you that our clients are looking to us to provide them information, because if I tell them to go look it up online, they may or may not, and then they become unhappy with that they're in a neighborhood that doesn't meet their needs. I grew up in a neighborhood when I was young. It's now a very fine neighborhood, but when I grew up, it was so unsafe that my mother told me to walk down the middle of the street, not to walk on the sidewalks, because there were, it was a really dodgy neighborhood, and the streets were more visible.
Right.
They weren't busy, but they were more visible. So I'm just telling you, not every family is comfortable with telling their children to walk down the middle of the street. My mother was.
That is a great story. I do want to say one thing, and this is a plug for Dilla's Mahogany Tours. Have you been on one yet?
No.
Oh my gosh, you guys. This is a Chicago gem. He's an historian and he runs Mahogany Tours on the South Side. And you can sign up to take a bus tour of Lawndale or of Bronzeville, and he'll show you the history. I took the one on Lawndale and like tears are coming to my eyes. I did not realize how bad the discrimination was and he really lays it out, and you can see the homes and you can see what happened. It is so impactful, but he does it with warmth and humor. And it is really a terrific event. And you can just sign up online, Mahogany Tours. I highly, highly recommend it.
The Sun-Times has long covered the outrageous discrimination and redlining and the tricks that sellers have pulled on buyers in those neighborhoods in the south and southwest sides. Um, it's a anyway. So we are big fans of fair housing. We care
Yeah.
tremendously about it, but we also understand that our clients are looking to us about, what do I do? Help me. They don't want me saying, I can't talk to you about it. So again, I'm ambivalent like you are, and I'm going to try and, when I do talk, I'm going to try and talk in a way. First of all, I'm going to obey Illinois law, but I'm
Right.
going to try and talk in a way that is very balanced and makes it clear, not try, yeah, whatever. So hard.
Let me say one more thing, and that is how proud we are to be members of the Baird and Warner family
Yes.
when we have a history of strong fair housing support. And in fact, John Baird left NAR because he believes so fervently in fair housing and how
now
immigrants
is slow to come to his understanding of fair housing. Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's Baird and Warner is fantastic for so many reasons. Anyway, next. Odds and ends.
Odds and ends.
So you've been following this New York City second home tax?
I have not. Tell me.
So the Mondami administration is looking for ways of getting new revenue. And one of the things that he talked about, Mondami talked about, was a surtax on second homes. People, there are, in New York City especially, same with Paris, same with really London too, where rich people from other countries and the United States buy properties as a way of holding, that's where they put their wealth. So they have a lot of often empty, second homes, third homes, fourth homes, fifth homes in New York City and in London and other places that are really standing empty. And so, and in the United States, because a lot of these states in which these big cities are located, California, Illinois, New York, have higher property tax and higher other taxes. People live in Florida, have moved to Florida,
Right.
or Texas or wherever, and are resident in those states while keeping their home in Chicago and living largely in New York City, in Chicago, in Los Angeles, wherever.
Right.
So they're looking on taxing these really expensive. So in New York, first of all, they don't have the final numbers on it. They don't have the final details. I Googled and tried to find it. But it looks like they're going to be in New York City, properties over $5 million, because New York City, that's like a 2-bedroom. And it'll be a tax on the difference above $5 million. So they're looking to raise about $500 million a year in additional taxes. The details haven't been released. But it will be interesting to see. Rhode Island is going after the Taylor Swift properties because she has a big mansion that she doesn't live in, but she has a big mansion that are uninhabited for 6 months a year. So
what do you think about this? You okay with it?
I'm totally okay with it.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, yeah, I'm totally okay with it too, especially in New York, 5 million. What the heck? I mean, here's the thing. Michigan, when we had our home in Michigan, we paid higher taxes because they charge more money if it's your second home in Michigan, every home, no matter what price. So all those people here in Chicago who have their homes in New Buffalo, South Haven, Saugatuck, they pay more. And you know what? I get it. And especially for those who, live 6 months in one day in Florida.
Well, they made their money in Illinois.
Yeah.
They're moving to Florida. They spend less than 6 months in Florida. They spend, they're just 6 months out of Illinois.
Yeah.
and get all the benefits of living in Illinois. And one of the reasons why people say we've lost so much population, one, and two, why don't we have these properties for sale? Because people are holding on to them because they
Right.
haven't really moved. They've moved. You know,
Right.
and I have people in my life that I care very much about who are doing the same thing. So
Yeah.
that the point is, you have the money, you're getting the benefit of Illinois. Pay the taxes. Anyway,
Right.
so
I'm on your bandwagon.
California, San Diego, it's not all of California, it's San Diego, is going to vote in June on a flat tax. In 2028, it'll be $10,000 on vacant second homes. Interesting.
Wow.
Alrighty,
Wow.
let's do some West Loop, as we
You
promised.
know, it's 8:02. Should we just save it for next week?
Well, how are those nice people who are who care about, or who asked you about it, going to feel if we don't do it?
They'll watch us next week.
Okay, watch us next week.
We can go even deeper than what I have on it. How about
Excellent.
that? That's what we'll do. We'll go deeper. We'll make the
And
whole
I'll
show
find
about the West
properties
Loop.
that I like.
Pardon?
I'll find properties that I like.
In the West Loop.
Yeah.
We'll do it all about West Loop.
All about West Loop.
Yeah. We'll do luxury. We'll do first time buyer. We'll do everything. We'll do everything West Loop. I love it.
Sounds good.
Everybody, thank you for watching Monday Morning Coffee with Kyle and Ann, and we will see you next week. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us on socials, and call us when you have a real estate need.
Bye.
Bye-bye.